Oh, dude, 3 seconds.
3 whole seconds.
3 seconds. I had a dad joke too, and we're not going to get it today. Sorry, folks. No dad jokes for you today. I'm actually probably sure that you're not sorry. So here we go. All right. Let's just do this. There will. Yeah. Go.
Let's go do this.
Yeah, it's 11:11. We're going to get into it like right away. No pre-show. Well, this is a bit of a pre-show, but it's not really a pre-show because it's a pre-intro starting show. You got the intro? This is not your usual. I get it. Whoa, geez. Whoa. Okay, I'm awake. My eyes are bright. Too bright for you guys. That's why I've got shades on. You can do this. There we go. All right, awesome. Good job.
You've tuned in to COVID Marketing with Brent Kobayashi and Arthur Tutt, the show to support small business not just to survive, but to thrive.
That's right. We are live with COVID Marketing episode number 82. Week daily at 11:11 Eastern Standard Time. We come to you. If you have questions on marketing, business, or well, whatever, you let us know in the comments, wherever you find folk are seeing this. I am Brent Kobayashi, president of Kobayashi Zeitgeist, a marketing agency here in Toronto, Canada, planet Earth. And with me is Mr. Arthur Tutt, marketing specialist at the KZ. If you like what you see, please share this show with your friends. Click subscribe, click the bell, click the notify buttons, start a watch party, whatever, do all the stuff. Just do all the stuff. So now
all the things.
Do all the things, have all the feels, watch all the shows. Yeah, okay. Right. So today we're going to be talking about Google Tag Manager, and whether you've heard about it or not, it's a tool that will simplify your marketing analytics by elegantly connecting a huge amount of platforms you're using for you to do without, it's still technical, but you can do stuff without your developer specifically getting involved with every single thing. That's the main reason for this thing being, so that it can be outside of development and into the hands of a marketer. So certainly a can't miss episode for all those of you watching. Arthur, why don't you kick us off?
Episode 82, Google Tag Manager. I'm just going to put this out. Big nerd alert. This is going to get nice and nerdy.
Yeah.
If you're anything like me, you're going to love this.
Yes, and if you're anything not like Arthur, you're not going to love this. It's okay. We'll try to give you some context from a business perspective and a marketer's perspective, but we are going to dig into some technical stuff. If you want, you can skip ahead. No problem. If you have questions about how this might relate to you specifically, by all means, hit us up.
So as much as this is going to get quite nerdy, I do want to stress, like, this is very important for anybody who has a website. And yeah. Brent, do you know anybody with a website?
So I'm going to put a little bit of context around that. 100% we think that you should have something like Google Analytics or Analytics. 100%. We've actually defaulted now that Google Tag Manager needs to be part of everything, because you want to put certain things in there for your future. So to give you an example, using something, oops.
Are we going live?
Dismissed. Yeah, we're going live. So for example, you can just with your website put stuff like in the Facebook pixel, the LinkedIn pixel, the whatever pixel, in order to track what's happening and be able to reach people beyond your website from the people that actually get to your website. So there's a bunch of different things you can do with that. I want you to fill us in on that. But when you do this at the beginning, then you have the ability to, when you actually want it or need it, to actually use the data that you've collected. So go for it. Tell us what what's important about Google Tag Manager and why you might want to get into this.
Well, that was a really good point about build it before you need it, right? It's one of those things where once you've set it up, it can be kind of ticking away and collecting data in the background. And perhaps, a month or 3 months down the road, you're like, I really wish I had that data. And poof, you've already got it, right?
Yeah. So if you're running Facebook campaigns, Google campaigns, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest. Now you may say, Facebook, I'm B2B and I don't need Facebook, or LinkedIn really isn't the platform. But you know what? These things change. And the answer is yes, they are most likely in your future. So do it now. All right. Go for it. Why is it the easiest and the best option?
Okay. So the thing with Google Tag Manager is it lets you take all the different tags from all the different platforms and to put them together in one simple container, one simple place that anybody can access. You don't need to understand coding. You don't need to be a developer. Anybody can get in there and to access it, which makes it really simple in terms of if you want to make updates or if you want to make changes. So let's say your company suddenly decides, oh, we're going to get on LinkedIn. You can take the LinkedIn tag, you can throw it into Google Tag Manager, and then it's there so that you don't have to get into the back end. You don't have to be a developer and make changes to your website code. So it makes things really, really simple and streamlined.
Got it. So you do it once, it's the one ring that binds them all, right? So you've got it in there, it's the code that's in the site, and then that can bring in other code as it needs.
Exactly.
Okay, cool. Where do you want to go? You want to show what it looks like?
Yeah, let's show a little.
You want to show what you need?
Screen share. Okay, so here we go. So this is Google Tag Manager, and it's got this little blue diamondy icon here. And so, okay, a couple things. First of all, let's say you want to know, does your website already have Google Analytics or Google Tag Manager? It's actually a question that a lot of people don't actually know about their website. There is a free Chrome extension called the Google Tag Assistant, and it lets you check any website to see whether they have Google Analytics installed, Google Tag Manager, and if there's more tags in here, they'll show up as well. But this at a quick level lets you know instantly, okay, Kobayashi.ca, they have Google Tag Manager set up, and they got a little green light here, so everything's good, everything's working well, no errors. So that's how you know if it's set up properly. Now, what does the actual Tag Manager look like? We jump into our account here and jump into the tags. This is what they call the container, right? So this in here, and this is gonna look messy. And I did warn you at the beginning, big nerd alert here, but what's coming up? But this is where all the magic happens. And so to give a few examples, there's this one here titled GA all page views, right? So that's basically, this tag is then firing to Google Analytics to say somebody was on the website, and we're going to record that as a page view.
So that's just your standard Google Analytics, right? Now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
That's just your basic bread and butter place to start with, right? Then you can get more complicated in here. So one of them is actually an engagement timer. So you can keep track of how long are people actually spending on the page. Do people come and then in 1 second they bounce and they leave? Or do you have a blog post and people are spending 5 minutes and actually reading the blog post? You can also add in scroll depth tracking to see, again, okay, did people just read the headline of the blog, or did they scroll all the way down to the bottom? Because if you see somebody went, 95% down your page and they spent 8 minutes on your website, there's a pretty good chance that they actually read that blog and digested the information.
Gotcha. So it's giving you a lot more granular detail, and you're the detail that you're specifically interested in to say, hey, this is what's happening on my website.
Exactly. And so to give an example, so Google Analytics, by default, it gives you a bounce rate, right? And so the bounce rate is the number of people who left without interacting on your website. And one of my gripes with the bounce rate is that it doesn't tell you very much. Because if somebody came to your blog and they spent 5 minutes reading your blog and scrolled down and then they left without actually clicking on anything, my understanding is that counts as a bounce, even if they might have ingested a whole bunch of great information from your website.
Gotcha. Interesting. Okay, so that's your understanding. So that's something that would be neat to confirm.
Need to confirm that 100%, but yeah.
Yeah. But more to your point, you can actually set triggers or counts to say, I want to know if somebody has scrolled down the page 50%, 75%. And you can actually start tracking those sorts of specific things so you can get a sense of, is it just, the person clicked, they went to that page, and then they walked away, and when they came back, they just went somewhere else. They didn't do anything at all on your page. So you can get a sense, especially if you're like a publisher or you're doing a lot of blog posts, it's a really neat way to understand kind of what's working.
Mm-hmm. And so there's other things that we can track here. So for example, there's a conversion event set up for the form submission. So on our website, you scroll all the way down to the bottom, we have this form submission here, and it's really useful to track those conversion events, especially if, say, some people come to the website, maybe they found us through Facebook or through Instagram or through TikTok, or perhaps we were running some Google ads or YouTube videos. There's a lot of different ways somebody could come to the website. So not only would we get information that somebody has filled out this form and submitted it, but can also get information in terms of where they came from.
Okay, cool. So what are some neat things that you can do with this?
I mean, this wasn't neat enough.
This is very cool. Yes, super neato.
So something else, there's a tool called Hotjar, which is a heat mapping tool. And so that lets you see like where people have actually been on your website, what specifically have they been clicking on, how far down the page that they scrolled. Cool. And so again, that's another tag that you can throw into Google Tag Manager. We do have an example, actually a really cool example. Stop sharing here for a second. From a client that we've been working with recently, and basically on their website, they have a wizard, right, where people can go through, and I don't mean like a wizard with a magical wand. I mean like they have a tool where people going through an immigration process can go through and they can fill in their information. Now, one of the things with this wizard is it's fairly lengthy. There's about 5 or 7 different pages that people need to fill out. And as we were setting up the campaign, we were finding that people weren't finishing all the way through to the end. And so initially we set it up so we would track when people started the wizard and people finished the wizard. And we noticed a lot of people were starting the wizard, but nobody was finishing the wizard. So then we said we want to get more granular, and we want to say, okay, of those 7 steps, we want to be able to see like how far people getting through the wizard. Because what we wanted to know was like, is there a specific page, or is there a specific question, or is there like a repeatable pattern where everybody like they get to that stage and then everybody just drops off, right?
Right.
Then we can use that for debugging to then go back and review the wizard and say, look, everybody's stopping at this point and nobody's finishing. Is there some way that we can adjust this? Is there some way we can make it better so that remove something, change something, whatever that might be, so people actually go all the way through and finish?
Yeah. And you know what I absolutely loved about this? Both that it gave us some data, which is, yes, there is a spot where people are dropping off. That information is too much for them to be able to, they're having to go away, research or something like that. And so it is impacting things. And the client actually said, you know what, you can take that out because I'm fine to do a follow-up call if I need that information. Awesome, fantastic. The other thing that was super cool with Google Tag Manager, Arthur, was like, okay, we need to start tracking these events and all this kind of stuff. Do we need to put some extra code in there? And you said, no, I'm going to use Google Tag Manager. You went to the pages and you added what button click from the page Google Tag Manager should realize this is the trigger of this sequence of events, and then you could actually measure it. So from a pure marketer, kind of geeky marketer, you're just able to have it happen.
Yeah, just able to make it do it.
Yeah, this is like a marketer's dream. They're not sitting there going, okay, I mean, in slightly larger corporations, you might be waiting weeks before you can do that, but you're wanting to launch your campaign now, or you're in the middle of a campaign and you're not able to actually get the information that you need. So a quick question for you, what do you need? What do you need to set up Google Tag Manager?
You need to get it set up. So if you do a Google search, Googling for Google Tag Manager, you can set up an account. It's a free account. All you need is a Gmail email. And what you're gonna get, I'm gonna share my screen here.
Actually, while you're sharing, you're scratchy again with your headphones, by the way.
Okay, wait, hold on. This is important. Do you hear that?
Yeah, that's great.
That's good.
There you go. No, I don't hear that. Nope,
Okay.
nope. You're crystal clear now.
We're all good?
Yeah, we're all good.
Magic. Okay, so once you've set up your Google Tag Manager free account, you're gonna get your code. And so quite simply, it's gonna give you 2 pieces of code that you take, and one piece goes into the header of your website, one piece goes into the body of your website. Now, I think it's a little bit beyond the scope of this this live stream today to go in and show exactly how to set it up, but
this is where you might want a developer.
Yeah. Little disclaimer there.
Yeah, although some platforms might allow you to just put that in without needing a developer. They already know you're going to want to do Google Tag Manager or some sort of tag, and then you can throw that in there without it. There are certainly, if you're using WordPress, which is obviously a big one, there is the capability to get a plugin that allows you to put that kind of stuff in.
Yep, that's right. So WordPress does have a Tag Manager plugin that you can do it that way. I know Weebly also has like a header section and a body section that you can paste it in.
Yeah, different platforms will have the capacity to do that sort of thing. I mean, if you're having a developer do it, then they're not using a plugin, which is generally we think as a better thing, but it's not a bad thing to use a plugin. It's just slightly more efficient, less code dependent to do it just directly, but it's not necessary.
Yeah, and there's all sorts of YouTube videos about how to get it set up and running.
Okay, good. So is Google Tag Manager easy to set up? Like once you get going, like if you were to think back to when you first started this, is this like what, a day of education? A week? Like how much to be able to, let's take aside the specific of getting the tag in there, because there's a little bit of potential development going on there. But once it's in there, are you good to go, or is there does it take a bit to understand it?
So as with everything, it depends how much detail you want to get into. But I think to answer your question, let's just say you want the basics, right? You want to set up Google Tag Manager. You want to make sure that you've got Google Analytics in there and you've got your Facebook pixel in there.
Yeah.
That is a fairly simple, straightforward thing to do that probably in about 30 minutes of YouTube video watching, you could figure it out.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. So I guess the question is, can you summarize kind of just as we're going out, what's the impact of Google Tag Manager on your business?
What is the impact of Google Tag Manager on your business? I mean, this is the question everybody wants to know, right? It's like, what's the ROI? What's the return on investment here? And I think really what Google Tag Manager lets you to do is it lets you track your ROI. Right. And it lets you track if you're running different ad campaigns and you need to track, okay, how many people are actually signing up? How many people are subscribing to the newsletter? How many people are making purchases? Google Tag Manager lets you track all of those different events so that then you can report back and you can say, okay, we spent X amount of money running ads. This is how many people signed up. This is how many people showed up on the website. This is how many people we could remarket to, because we know that they're interested. This is how many people made a purchase.
Gotcha. And so, cool. All right.
Like the last point I would say on that is without having Google Tag Manager, without having all of your pixels, without having conversion tracking, you're basically flying blind on your website. That a lot of stuff could be happening and you don't really know what it is. So it really just it gives you the glasses. It gives you the ability to actually see what's happening on your website. Or maybe a microscope is a better metaphor.
All right. So as I put on my glasses for us to be going out, our shades, I just got to say that's pretty damn cool. One of the things that I have noticed many, many times with small businesses, especially, is they get all excited. They spend a lot of money on their website, and they actually don't realize that it's doing something for them. They literally are not cognizant that people are looking at it, people that are coming into their store are calling them, have visited their website, have checked them out, have engaged. And then what happens is the budget allocation in their head of how useful this is potentially goes down. So yes, if you don't have visibility of what's going on at your website, and also thinking about not just what, but how. Like if you had a store and you decided, you know what, I don't care what happens in that corner. If people get lost or, they just wander away out the back door or anything else like that, you'd be like, that doesn't make any sense. You want to optimize your space and make sure it's really great for the flow of the people that are coming through. And you understand, oh my goodness, they are all really interested in this shelf of product. And they spend a lot of time there and they talk to a lot of sales reps about this stuff and they're really confused about it. They have a lot of questions. They don't know what's going on there, how they're going to, like all of that information is happening. All that stuff is happening on your website. And without something like Google Tag Manager or analytics to surface this up, you don't know. And then your person walks in the door and then walks out and they go away. And you have the ability as they're walking down the street somewhere else to actually say, and listen to, you were interested in this thing. Are you still interested in it? Would you like more of it? We've got a discount on it. You have the ability to continue that conversation like normally you don't in a retail store unless you collected their information. But even then, this is scalable like you wouldn't believe. So that's Google Tag Manager. It makes it easier to do that kind. Obviously, there are other ways you can do it. You can do it all manual. You can do it. You can think about it right at the beginning and do all the things. But there's going to be different things that happen. TikTok right now is getting big. You might want to have a TikTok pixel on your website because it becomes an important thing for you to advertise. So do it. Get Google Tag Manager. Let's outro.
Let's outro. Do it.
There you go. Thank you, Arthur.
You've tuned in to COVID Marketing with Brent Kobayashi and Arthur Tutt, the show to support small business not just to survive, but to thrive.
Thank you for joining us on episode number 82. Google Tag Manager, do the thing. Now, tomorrow, we're actually joined by a special guest, Mr. Carl Grove, somebody I've known for, I think more than a decade now, who will be joining us to talk about the very important and soon to be trending, very trending topic of accessibility. It's already been important for many, many businesses, but there are actual government requirements coming up in year 2021 that many of you are going to, at least in Ontario and other places in the world, going to want to be figuring out how you're going to do the accessibility thing. And it's more than that. It's actually so much more than that other than compliance. It is about making sure that your website works for 10, 15, 20% of your audience. It's actually about making sure your website works for your future you, because we're all aging up. So accessibility is a lot more than you think it is. For those of you wondering, it's for accessibility. Oftentimes people think of it as, oh, that's so that somebody who is blind can use my website. That's almost the default in people's heads, but it's so much more than that. You're going to really enjoy this topic. Carl's a true expert on the subject. And he'll be walking through us exactly what accessibility means and should be top of mind for your business, what the ROI on it, how you actually think about it, how you put it in context with the rest of all the different things you're doing in your business. So join us tomorrow.
Let's do it.
And thank you for watching. You ready
Looking
to cut?
forward to it. Look. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
All right, let's cut.